Good afternoon, beautiful friends. I am Dr. Lori Monaco, the Badass Buddha, and I am doing a special presentation for you today. In fact, I have decided, I used to do this a while ago and I sort of got away from it. So I used to do weekly 30-minute conversations, and I'm going to get back to doing that. But I'm also going to create or make them discovery sessions as well. So my goal in my business is to align you with your best self. My business is Align Yourself Inc. So for those of you that do not know me, my name is Dr. Lori Monaco. I am also known as the Badass Buddha from life in general, but also the morning show that I co-host with my fabulous friend and fabulous co-host, Gladiator Guru, Margarita Chapman Rodriguez, also known as Margarita de Margarita. So definitely tune into our show in the mornings on Tuesdays and Thursdays, live YouTube and Facebook on Viva Cafe con Leche, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. So for that plug, what we are doing today is we are having a conversation on how important is good health to you. For those of you, again, that have either not heard me speak before, you're new to the game over here, or if you just want to hear it again, I am, by trade, I am a chiropractic physician. I have been a chiropractor for over 22 years, 21 years, 22, wait a minute, 20, yes, over 22 years. So if you were wondering, my gosh, were you like 15 when you graduated? Yes, I was 15 when I graduated. So I've been a chiropractor for over 22 years. I've also been a post-secondary health and human science teacher for almost 2 decades. I actually stopped teaching for a couple of years and I miss it dearly, but you're going to get a little dose of that today with the conversation that we're going to have today. But I taught things like human pathology, human anatomy and physiology, neuroanatomy and physiology, and I loved every minute of it. And I've been studying human anatomy and physiology since I was about 21 years old. And I am 31. So 31, I am 51. I wish I was 31. That'd be nice. I am 51. So that is 30 years. I have been studying the human body for 30 years. And I am in love with the human body. I love what our capabilities, what's possible. And I feel that it's necessary for me to share some of my knowledge with you because we're going through a time when we're just not in the best state of mind. We're very stressed. We're scared. There's so much uncertainty. And, the interesting thing is there's always been uncertainty. Nobody's ever been certain about anything. It's just there is a lot going on and things are always shifting. And we start to get used to one thing and then it gets turned around. The only certain things that we know are ourselves. And if we can gain a little bit more clarity when it comes to our health and who we are, then we will be ahead of the game. Because everything that's going on around us right now, this is a very crucial time for us to really pay attention to our health and to really understand how healthy we are and question it. Because, sometimes people believe that they are very healthy and then, because they feel good and they don't notice any issue, and then they happen to go to the doctor and they get some blood work done and they see that their blood work is off. Now, that's the interesting thing about disease processes. Most disease processes don't have any sign or symptom as they are making their way into your body or working their way through your body. So a lot of times when we actually feel pain or when we feel something else, it's really got quite a grasp on us before we feel that. So people are sometimes very shocked when they go and get a routine exam and find out that their blood glucose levels, their blood sugar levels are off, or they have high blood pressure or slightly elevated blood pressure. So we can't always go by how we feel, but I'm going to tell you that if you pay attention to yourself regularly, you will be able to feel things before you normally did. You'll be able to feel things before you normally did. So that means that pain or that unusual feeling in your stomach or something in your back or in your muscles or in your joints, you will be privy to before you ever were, as long as you become more aware. So this is going to be a series that I'm going to do, like I said, and I'm actually going to go ahead and share my screen. So let me see if I can get this going over here. And let me see, let's put this up here. And I'm going to share my screen. And unfortunately, I cannot see when I'm sharing, I cannot see the chat box. So I apologize for that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get online and onto my Facebook page, and I'm going to pay attention to the chat in there. And I'm just going to give a moment for people to come on. And I'm going to ask that for those of you that are listening, whether you're listening live or at a later time, I'm going to ask that you share you share this video with everyone, because it's got some very good information. I'm going to give you some fabulous tips that you can use and start using today, start implementing them today. That's the word I was looking for. Okay. So I'm looking to see if I am on, and here we go. So I am on. All right. So I am on. So if anything comes up and any comments come in, I will see them. I also want to, Eva. Hi, Eva. Eva's watching. So, okay. So let's talk about how important is good health to you. You know, here's the deal. When we are younger, we don't think twice about our health, really. We just assume we're indestructible and we're going to be fine for a really long time. And we do really stupid stuff and we make really bad decisions. And we make decisions that aren't for the best choices for ourselves. And then we wait and we wait and we feel okay. We feel okay. We start to notice some things. And then we sort of say, well, it's all right. I'll just take a little something and then I'll move on. And then as we get older, and this is where I get a little annoyed with us, is that we act surprised when we're told that we have something going on, or something's discovered by the doctor, and we act surprised. But really, we've been doing this to ourselves for years. So, you know, a lot of the diseases that are real common here in the United States happen over a period of time. You know, you don't just get diabetes by eating a lot of dessert in one day. You don't get heart disease by just eating, going out to McDonald's for one day or something like that. You know, you get these over a period of time from what we're putting in the body, not to mention what you're putting in, what you're not putting in, the good stuff, what you're not doing, taking time, mindfulness practice, being, understanding your stress levels and managing your stress. So we don't realize that this takes decades sometimes for it to come on. And then other times not. Sometimes we can do something and then a few days later we get sick. So this conversation is about health in general and about asking you to ask yourself, how important is good health to you? And the series that I'm going to be doing with you, and I'm going to be popping up weekly. It's going to be different days, different times, but it's going to be about 30 minutes. And it's going to be about your health. So that's what the conversation is. The series is going to be Your Health with Dr. Lori. All right. So let's talk about this. Good health is crucial today now more than ever. You know, we are living longer. We're doing more things. We want to live a really abundant life. So, years ago when my parents and my grandparents were younger, they just wanted to live longer. Period. They didn't really give criteria for it. They just said, I want to live longer, and people do. But my generation and the ones below and the ones just above, we want to not just live longer, but we also want to have a great quality of life. And to me, when I define what great quality of life is, it means that I'm very mobile. I have really great energy. I'm not taking any medications. I don't get sick very often. And when I do, I recover very rapidly, and I have great sleep. So that to me is what I'm looking for. And hell, I plan to live a really long time. I tell my kids that all the time. I said, I want to live as long as possible to annoy the crap out of you. And I really do tell them that. And I mean, I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding, but I want to be a part of their lives. I want to enjoy my grandchildren when I have them someday. I want to be participating with them. I don't want to be sitting on the sidelines because I'm hurting or I don't feel well or I'm forgetting. I want more for myself so that I can be there for my children. And I definitely don't want to be a burden for my children. So at 51, I have to start thinking. And technically, we have to start thinking as early as childhood, but that requires us as parents to be thinking and considering things for our children, better choices for our children so that they can have better choices when they're older. But if that was not the case, and before you beat yourself up for making really bad choices for your children, it's never too late to start. And it starts with you. You have to make the choices and the changes for yourself. And then you start, letting it filter down to your children and maybe your grandchildren and re-educating everyone as you re-educate yourself. So, we are in a country where we have the best healthcare in the world. We have technology and diagnostic tools like we've never had, like other countries don't even have. Yet we are the sickest. We are on the most medications. And if it's not, when we say, oh, well, after a certain point in time, you should be on some sort of medication, you're older, I don't buy into that. And what I've seen over the years too, is that as years have passed, I've seen younger and younger people getting on medications. I'm 51. I'm going to keep saying it because I'm very proud of my age. I'm very proud of the way I look. I'm very proud of the way I feel. Am I in the shape that I want to be? Not just yet. I lost a bunch of weight, but I'm working on my physical piece. So I'm getting there. And I let it slip away because I wasn't taking care of myself for many, many years. In fact, 2 decades, 20 years, I was not taking care of myself. I was not taking care of myself physically and physiologically, meaning what I was putting in my body and how I was handling stress levels and allowing my body to do what it needs to do. And so I came into, and I knew better. That's the worst part about it. A lot of people don't always know better, but I knew better. And I just did it anyway because I was in that mindset. I was depressed. I had self-loathing. I had self-sabotage, and I started to hurt. I started to ache. I started to have arthritic conditions on my wrist and from using my hands for so many years. And they hurt so bad that I could barely even adjust people anymore. And, when we look at these pictures, this is an expectation. We say, oh, but we're old. It's understandable that we won't walk properly, that we'll have to have some assistance, or that we'll have a hunchback because osteoporosis is really common, especially in women, and especially once they reach menopause. And we have to have that list of medications. And sometimes you'll get on a medication to treat one thing, and then you take a medication to treat the symptom of another thing. To me, and this is me, that's not okay for me. And I've met so many people over the years that that's not okay for them as well, or either. So now is the time to question it, because we've been tested this last year on how healthy we can or can't be. We also we've learned to understand that the more health issues you have, the bigger risk factors you are for other ailments and infections. And so this becomes something that even more now than ever, we really need to focus on. So with that, I want to give you a crash course on the immune system. Now, remember I said I was a health and human science teacher for about almost 20 years. Love, love, love teaching anatomy. And this was one of my favorite subjects. Who am I kidding? I love every system of the human body. So this is one of them. But, one quick conversation on the immune system barely covers how amazing the immune system is. So when I say crash course, it's going to be bare minimum, because I can actually teach you a whole course just on the immune system. And it's so complex, but yet it is so freaking amazing, because this is our defense system. So the immune system is made up of various structures, and it kind of coincides with different regions of the body. It does have its own glands that it's associated with, and organs, or not glands so much, but organs. But it piggybacks along what's called the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is a tubular system that is a drainage system. It takes excess fluids that came out from circulation to bathe our cells in what it needs, the nutrients it needs, and then take away the garbage that it doesn't need anymore, the metabolic waste. And the lymphatic system, although a lot of it does go back into, a lot of things go back into circulation, not all of it does. And so the lymphatic system's job is to take up excess fluid in the various areas of the body and then bring it back to the cardiovascular system, so the blood vessels. But this is how cool the body is. That what the body decided to do was say, hey, listen, if we're going to bring this fluid back and we're going to put it back in the general circulation, which means it goes everywhere in the body, let's clean it. It's almost like the filtering mechanism that you might have in your house for your water system. Like if you have one of those really advanced filtering system, or as simple as a filtering mechanism on your faucet, it's filtering the fluid, the water that's coming through, so that you have clean water to drink. Well, think of your lymphatic system as that. Lymphatic systems are tube structures, and as they go along, there are enlargements in the tubes. Some of the tubes the enlargements are quite small. Those are called lymph nodes, and they usually cluster together, and they're very specific areas of the body that are more vulnerable. And then there are larger lymphatic-like organs. They're like lymph nodes, and they have they're big on a bigger scale, but in the end, they all do the same thing. They filter, and inside these beautiful organs and lymph nodes are immune system cells. Okay. But before we get into talking about those specific cells, we're going to talk about the immune system in general, what it is. So the immune system is made up of three parts. We have what are called we have three lines of defense: the first line, the second line, and the third line of defense. Your first line of defense is, what we're looking at here are the best way to prevent an attack. Let's put it that way, because that's what the immune system does. The immune system is their defense system. It's there to prevent an attack, or it's there to fight off an attack. But think about it in war, in like war terminology or war terms, that what's the best way to win a war is to not have one in the first place, is to avoid the conflict in the first place, right? So if we could prevent things from getting into our bodies in the first place, then we have won, right? And our first line of defense is very kick-ass, I will tell you that. So the very first line of defense, which is our largest organ in our body, is our skin. And the skin lines every single part of our body, with the exception of openings into our body. So it lines every single part of our body, and it works very, very well unless it's compromised. So if there's a cut on there, then things can enter. But other than that, it actually keeps a lot of stuff out. And when I say keeps a lot of stuff out, it does have its limitations. There's certain chemicals that can pass very easily through that barrier. So we have to be really careful about what we put on our skin. However, the things that it's really protecting us from, things like viruses and bacteria, they cannot really get in. In fact, they can only get to a certain level within the skin itself, but they usually cannot get into, or they cannot get into circulation unless there is a break in the skin, in the continuity of that skin. Okay, but that's not every area of the body. We have openings into the body, and those openings are lined with mucous membrane. Our mucous membrane is a fabulous membrane. It produces mucus, and the mucus is there to flush out and trap anything that gets into that mucous membrane. I used to love to describe it as this, if let's say you took a fan and you put some dirt in the fan, and you put you put a paper towel on the front of the fan, and then you put the fan on, and you put some dirt, and you let the dirt just fly through, and then you pull the paper towel away. Would you see dirt on there? And yeah, you'd see a little bit, okay, but definitely not every single bit of that was put that you put into the fan. But if you wet the paper towel, and you put that paper towel back, and then you do it again with the same amount of dirt, and you pull it away this time, the dirt is going to stick to that wet paper towel because it's attracted to the water. It can't break the bond. So that's the way the mucous membrane works. The mucous membrane is wet. and it traps debris. And we also have these little cilia, these pieces of these microscopic hair-like structures. We have them in our nasal cavity. We have them in the respiratory tubes going down. That also helps trap and push things out. We produce mucus all the time, and we're always pushing stuff out of our system. Not to mention, there's some fabulous defense cells lining the mucous membrane. We create tears to flush things out so it cannot get into our system. The mucous membrane, again, is, it's a defense, but it's also not, it's not without issues. It's very vascular. There's a lot of blood, meaning there's a lot of blood vessels in there. So it is a way for things to get in there. But as long as that mucous membrane is working flawlessly, it will prevent quite a bit, but it still can let things in. So that's why we produce mucus. That's why we produce tears. Now, the other thing is our digestive system. When you eat something, you have mucous membrane in your mouth. You have a lot of acidity in your mouth. When you swallow, it goes down into your stomach, which is loaded with acid and usually can kill off anything that you've eaten that might have been bad. And so all these are known as the first line of defense. The goal is to prevent things from getting into the circulation. And I see Michelle Lanoy. Thanks, Michelle, if you're still on. Michelle was a student of mine. So this is a review for Michelle, and I want to do a shout out to Lee Clark, if you're still on. Thank you for joining. Okay, so I don't want to take too long because it's supposed to be a crash course on this, but you could see I love this stuff so much. All right, and then we also have to know, we have to give kudos to our gut bacteria. Our gut bacteria, which is incredible. It's trillions. Okay, we have about 50 trillion cells that make up our body. And it is estimated that the gut microbiome is about 50 to 100 trillion cells. We have as many bacteria in our gut or more as we do cells in our body. So this is incredible. It has a life of its own, and its job is to help us do what we need to do: break down foods, absorb, protect. Of course, it has its own needs, and that's what it's doing. In the process, it's getting what it needs as well, but it's not doing it in a parasitic way. It is in a symbiotic way. However, we do have bad bacteria in there. And when that gets too, elevated and overpopulates, and the good bacteria is less populated, that's when other problems ensue. And then we also have the urinary system. Urine is very acidic. We also have the mucus lining coming through those areas. And we do have cells, our defense cells, hanging out there just in case. Okay, so this is our first line of defense. If we can prevent getting things in the body in the first place, we have won the battle. And I will tell you that on a daily basis, the amount of bacteria and viruses that we are exposed to is dumbfounding. It would freak any germaphobe out, period, because it would totally freak them out. It would freak even a non-germaphobe out because it is a lot. We're exposed to a lot of things, but yet we do not get sick that often because of this amazing first line of defense. Now, let's say things do go through. We then switch to our second line of defense and then eventually our third. So the second line of defense is also known as our innate immunity, or the non-specific line of defense. We are born with these. These are cells, and they are cells and protein systems that their job is to attack anything that they recognize not to be your cell. So when we're talking about your body, something comes into your body, they are trained to recognize something that is not your cell. Okay, they have the ability to do that. So they attack it. They're very fast. They're very efficient. They multiply very rapidly. They respond very rapidly. So they will kill it, but it could take them a little while because they have to figure out exactly, what they're dealing with, and they have to react appropriately, but they don't discriminate whatsoever. If it's not you, they will attack it. Okay. So we are born with this. Every child that's born will have this unless they are born with a compromised immune system, meaning that their immune organs did not grow properly. They did not develop properly. But even then, there's still levels of this non-specific defense. Most of the time, even with congenital problems with the immune system, meaning if they're born that way, it usually has everything to do more with the third line of defense, which is our specific line of defense. And our specific line of defense is known as our adaptive immunity. Adaptive meaning it has to adapt, it has to learn. And babies are not born with this. They develop this. We develop this as we are exposed to things, and they utilize the non-specific line of defense to help. And as they learn to adapt, they will become very specific and go after very specific things. So let's say you get the flu one season, they will develop cells to combat that specific strain of flu. If another strain comes around, they will not be adapted to that specific strain. However, they will be better at recognizing and adapting to the next strain, but they still need the second line of defense. They need that help from the second line of defense. Okay, so we, for a lifetime, will create our third line of defense, our adaptive immunity. We never really truly stop. You might have heard things like as we age, our immunity goes down. We're not as strong as we used to be. That is true. It does show that in research, but it also shows that if we do not take better care of ourselves, that is more likely to happen. The research is showing very clearly now that the better we take care of ourselves, what we put in our bodies, keeping the gut microbiome healthy and full, will also protect us. That gut microbiome is also known as our enteroendocrine system, and it is so closely related to the brain and something called the blood-brain barrier. The brain, which is such a vital organ in our body that needs extra protection, and we have what's called the blood-brain barrier. So as things circulate, it really tends to discriminate against certain things from passing that would go to every other cell in the body except the brain. But things do pass, and you can get infections in the brain. They're just not nearly as common as any other system in the body. Research has shown that the gut microbiome and the lining of our intestine, small and large intestine, when it is damaged, that lining, it interrupts the barrier. So it lets things in that normally wouldn't get in there. And it also opens up that blood-brain barrier and makes it less responsive. So it increases the risk of infection. And believe me, we don't want to mess anything with the brain because the nervous system, that's what runs the show. So all of these things really require us to make the effort as humans. We can't just do what we want and expect the body to keep up with it. It does the best it can. And I promise you, it does it for a really long time, but there is a point where it will start to shut down. So it's important for us to understand how well our defense system works, but we have upkeep. We have to take care of ourselves. So the defense system, our immune system, requires challenges. Okay. So when we think of us getting sick, like this woman in this picture, we think that, well, we're sick. So, my immune system must be down. Well, yes, that's true to a certain level, or maybe it just didn't get a chance to combat things properly. If you get sick periodically, there's nothing wrong with that. We need that challenge. I'm going to say I don't really get sick all that often, but when I do, it usually lasts about 2 days. I immediately start adding some more, things, and I'll save that for another conversation. But I'll immediately I'll add things to my protocol to boost my immune system a little bit more, and I'll also make sure that I get proper rest. But getting sick is not horrible. We just don't want to get sick for long periods of time. But that's a great challenge for the system. But we also need a physical challenge. We need to move around. We need to get blood circulating. When blood circulates, lymph moves around too. That's the fluid that's in that lymphatic system, which is part of the immune system. And when we move, we get things going. And so we do need to challenge ourselves. Sitting on our butts all day doing these things are not good. We can do them for a little while, but we have to get up. We have to move around. So don't sell yourself short. Don't think that your body's not capable. We do have limitations, and especially if we've damaged ourselves, we will have more limitations, but the body is more resilient than what most people give it credit for. We have an amazing ability to heal if we take care of ourselves, put the right things in, and have the proper amount of rest. So we want to challenge, but we also want that downtime to rest. So when we are awake, we are basically, up and running and moving around. And when your heart elevates and starts going faster and your blood pressure goes up, we go into what's called our stress response. And it doesn't have to mean that it's stressful, like that, oh my God, it's a stressor, it's bad. You could win the lottery and your heart rate goes up. And I don't think that's bad, right? But it's a stress response. It's called our fight or flight mode. It's our sympathetic nervous system reaction. The opposite of that, it was called the parasympathetic nervous system reaction, is our rest and digest mode. It's when we go to bed at night and we go to sleep. We absolutely need sleep. And it is that time that we have our greatest amount of repair. But what if you're not getting a lot of sleep? What if you're not resting all that much? Even sitting down and just relaxing and meditating for 20 minutes, that's restful. And that allows for repair. If you twist your ankle, your body wants you to not use it. It makes it painful for a reason. It swells it up and it makes you want to sit down and elevate or just at least get off of it because it needs time to repair it. If we don't give it the time to repair, it will not repair properly. So we are challenged, but we also need time for rest and repair. Okay. So good health now. I'm going to give you some tips for creating good health now, because that's the whole point. And hi, Cindy Newberg. Iorfino, is that, did I say it right? Iorfino. Thank you for coming on today. So let me give you the tips for creating good health now, because listen, I'm telling you, I want you to one up yourself. I want you to challenge yourself. No matter what your age is right now, you'd be surprised how resilient the body is if you give it the proper things and you give your mind the proper rest and your body the proper rest. You can repair. How much can you repair? It will depend. And we could always have a conversation about that. You can always reach out to me if you ever need advice on that. But you'd be surprised how much you can repair if given the right things, putting the right things in your body. So let's talk about these tips real quickly. And I'm going to tell you that at the end, I would love for you to take a picture when we get to the end so that you can keep these with you. Okay. So drinking water, we need water. Okay. About 70% of our body is made up of water. Half your weight. People just always, should I have, 10 to 12, 8-ounce glasses of water, blah, blah, blah. Here's the easy way to do it. At least half your weight in water. Half your weight in water. So you take your weight, you half it, and that's the amount of ounces that you will drink in a day. It needs to be spread out. Can water be dangerous? Yes, it can. If you drink too much water in a very short period of time, it will throw off the balance of your blood, and it can actually become very dangerous. So this is over a period of time. I'm a certain weight and I have to drink about 70 ounces of water per day. And so that's a lot when you think about it. But it's over a period of time, so, and this is in addition to if you're drinking coffee does not count. Juices do not count. Take that number and drink half your weight in ounces of water. Eat a clean diet, eliminate preservatives and artificial anything, eliminate sugar, increase your veggie intake, staying away from nutrient poor vegetables like iceberg lettuce, corn, potatoes. Decrease fruit intake, lean towards nutrient dense, low sugar types of fruits. Why decrease intake? Isn't fruit supposed to be good for you? Fruit has a lot of sugar in it, and you have to be very mindful about the amount of sugar you put into your body, even from natural sources like that. So go for the ones that have less sugar. Berries, apples, avocados, and avocados have fabulous fats along with it. Minimally eat bananas, mangoes, grapes, watermelon, and dates, and avoid dry fruits altogether. Dried fruits often have a lot of very bad chemicals, and they are loaded with sugar. Any fruit that's ever dried out increases the sugar content tremendously, and it takes away the water content. Now, do they have fiber in them? Yes, and fiber is great. Fruits also have a lot of vitamins and antioxidants, especially berries. But go with the ones that have less sugar. And if you want to indulge in the ones that have more sugar, just don't do it all the time. In other words, if you're a grape or watermelon eater, don't always eat grapes and watermelon all the time and every single day. Okay. Mix it up a little bit, especially berries. And then the other thing here too is that when we talk about eliminate sugar, we're talking about sugar across the board. So for those of you that like to buy organic and you say, why buy, organic cane sugar? Sugar is sugar is sugar. It's healthier than bleached processed white sugar, but it is still sugar. So just because it's organic, it is still excess sugar. You got to move. You got to get off your butt and you got to move. You do not have to exercise. Do whatever you want. Dance like nobody's watching you. Skip around. Get a jump rope. Play hopscotch. Play with your children. We went to the trampoline park yesterday and I was there playing with my kids and we had a great time. And I was admiring the parents that were also playing with their kids because most of the parents were sitting down on their phones. No judgment. I have my moments. There are times where I bring my kids to the park and I sit my tush down. I sit on my tush because I do want that little bit of a break. But I do also want to participate. And it felt really good. Loved it. I love the trampoline park. Take time to breathe, meditate, pray, and be still. Being still is a beautiful way to manage your stress. Get plenty of sleep. Remember that rest and digest piece, that piece that allows you to repair. Okay, rest, repair, digest. Have fun and enjoy your life, whatever way that is for you, whatever that means to you. It's different for every single person. But make a list of the things that really you love to do that bring you joy and do them. If nobody else wants to do them with you, then do them yourself or find people that will, go to meetups and see, if you like climbing and nobody else in your family likes climbing, then find a climbing group to go climbing with. All right. Do things that honor you, your body, your mental and emotional states. This is having conversation with yourself. Don't overdo it, but don't underdo it. For me, I was doing flips yesterday on the trampoline, but I also know my limitations, so I had to take rest in between. I had to drink my water and I wasn't going to do anything crazy that I haven't done in a really long time. Be social with people you want around. Don't force yourself to be around people just to be social if you don't like them. And if they don't bring, something to the table, if they bore you or they, there's sometimes you have to be around people that you don't always want to be around, like family and certain friends, but really be social around the people that bring something, that bring something to you, but you also bring to them. Remember, it's reciprocal here. Can't be one-sided. Deal with your finances. Don't ignore them, even if they are a hot mess. Ask for help or direction if you need it. And don't be afraid to ask. Everybody makes screw ups with their finances. And even the people who are in finance have probably, at some point in their life done a screw up. Don't be embarrassed. If that's adding stress to your life or your finances, then find a way to work with somebody to help you work through your finances, your financial situation. Connect to your higher source, your higher power, whatever that means to you, whatever you define that as. Connect to something. And if that's not you, then don't worry about that piece. If you're not a higher source person, move on. Plenty of other things to do here. Do a body check-in daily. Sit quietly, pay attention to what your body is trying to tell you. Maybe do it once or twice, maybe more times a day. Sit down. How are you feeling today? What's going on? You don't have to talk out loud, but you could speak to yourself and check your joints, your muscles. Are you hungry? Are you cold? Are you hot? Are you hurting? Is there any burning sensations? Check in and then ask your body what it needs. Am I thirsty? Am I hungry? Sometimes we're hungry, but we're actually thirsty. And when you sit down and you think about it and you allow yourself that moment, you would know. Gain clarity on what you truly want in your life. And this will reduce stress because you'll begin to eliminate the things you don't want in your life. I know this one like crazy because it took me many, many years to figure this one out, even though I knew better. Just because you know better doesn't mean you always do better. But then you wake the heck up, and then it's important for you to do better once you really decide that this is it. Know when to reach out to a professional, whether it's a medical doctor, a naturopath, a chiropractor, a coach, mentor, a therapist, etc. Know when you need to reach out. You can reach out to friends, but if you do need professional help, for anything that you're working through. Even if it's just simply training and you say, I want to get in better physical condition, get a physical trainer, costs money. Yes. But in the end, they know what they're doing and they're going to teach you how to do it right if you haven't done it in a long time or have never done it before. And it's better to spend the money, even for a short period of time, than to injure yourself and then be out of commission from that point going forward. Listen, I hurt my toe. I tripped a little over a week ago, and my big toe, if any of you are old enough, reminded me of the Flintstones when they used to drop on the something on their foot and the big toe would just be pulsating, this big, huge toe. That's what it looks like. And my big toe is already big. It didn't need to be bigger. But boy, did that sucker hurt. And I've tried to do a few things and it hurts. And yesterday I was worried that it would be bothering me for trampoline because I promised my kids we would do something. And I was really good for most of the time. I was really shocked. And then I just did something and twisted it in one direction. And that was that. My toe swelled up and it was really uncomfortable. Sat down the rest of the time. And thank God it was at the end. And got home and did what I needed to do. I listened to my toe and I elevated it for a while. Then I also soaked it in cold water and I babied it and it feels much better now. So, it is really important for you to listen to yourself but know when you need. I didn't need to reach out to a doctor because I am a doctor. I knew what I needed to do. But if it was worse, I would have I would have went and got it checked, x-rayed, whatever. Okay, so with a discovery session, I also want to make sure that you understand of not just these important things, but I also want to make sure that you understand that I have ways because of what I do, my background. I am like I said, a chiropractic physician for over 22 years, but I'm also a teacher, speaker, and coach. And I teach people how to one-up their health, one-up their lives. So I am going to give you an offer today. And this is one of the 3 programs that I offer. And it coincides with the program that I offer, the other 2 programs I offer as well. It's called Blast Wellness, and it features the ChiroThin weight loss system. While it is touted as a weight loss system, and you may not need to lose weight necessarily, but I'd like to say that it's really more of a wellness system because this program is designed to reduce systemic chronic inflammation in the body and to eliminate known allergens, foods that are known allergens, eliminate them from your body to allow your body a chance to heal. And as a result, we see individuals who have drastic changes in their health, not just losing body fat and weight. So the package comes with 7 one-hour group coaching sessions. It comes with access to the Facebook ChiroThin Tribe, which is private. A streaming exercise program, which are burst exercises that coincide specifically. This is a 6-week-long program. They're done in 6-week intervals, let's put it that way. You will be signed an accountability partner. You'll receive support text messages from me and the tribe. You'll also get a food scale. You'll get a journal. You'll get a recipe book. You'll get an instruction book. You will get supplements, and you will get, what else will you get? A tape measure. Package price is normally $7.99, but today it is $150 off. And this will be available to you for the next 48 hours. So for those of you that are considering it, I'm going to put a link for you to learn more about the way the program works and the link to register to save the $150. But do check it out. See what it's all about. See if this will work for you. The coaching sessions are phenomenal because you are going to learn about why you eat the way you eat. We're going to talk about emotional eating, addictions. We're going to talk about food addiction in general, why we're so addicted to food, why we're such an unhealthy society. You're going to learn all this stuff about yourself, but you're also going to learn massive tips on what to do when you are going to a party or when you are confronted with eating, things that are really not good for you. This is a clean diet protocol, and it's absolutely phenomenal. It's the way that I lost 40 pounds. I lost 40 pounds and a massive amount of body fat, but the health that I gained is incredible. Remember that arthritic condition I was talking about? I'm not saying the bone spur is not still there, but it sure does not bother me. And I have been doing a ridiculous amount of yard work in my yard. And also I've been working a lot of patients, and it's not hurting. So right there, that speaks volumes for me, at least. The other thing I wanted to also mention to you, I'm going to also give you a free downloadable. It's a link for my 7 core pillars of alignment. The 7 core pillars of alignment this is what I work on with my coaching, my VIP individual coaching and my group coaching. We go through what are called the 7 core pillars of alignment, which allow you, as it says, focus on stress management, authenticity, mindfulness practice, mindset, and changing negative habits, behaviors, and beliefs. And we focus on 7 pillars: mental, emotional, physical, physiological, social, spiritual, and financial. We do an evaluation, determine which areas you need to focus on the most. For some, it's more than one. For others, it could be just 1 or 2. And then we work together to align you so that you have optimal health, optimal well-being, and you live your most optimal life. But unless we work through all 7 of them, and we identify the areas that you need help in, then if you only do 1 or 2, you're never going to feel, you're never going to be fully aligned, and you're going to feel it. It'll catch up to you in one way or another. So I'll give you that free downloadable as well. And just to put it out there, that the Blast VIP coaching, which is one-on-one 60-minute for 4 of them a month, is $800 a month. And the Blast group coaching, which there's going to be a new group starting in September, maximum amount is about 10 people in the group, and it's $400 a month. And that is 60-minute sessions for a month. So with that, if you need to get in touch with me, you can find me here on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. My website is drlorimonaco.com. I'm on Instagram, the Badass Buddha 1, and TikTok, the Badass Buddha, as well as LinkedIn at Dr. Lori Monaco. So I'm going to stop my sharing for a moment. Going to pull out of that, and I'm going to get back to what we were working on here. And so I want to make sure that I put these links for you. Okay. And I just want to add one more thing too, that in addition to saving the $150, if you can get people to join, friends, and you want to challenge yourselves and become part of that wellness group, you can do it together, and you will save an extra $50 if you refer somebody and they sign up for the package. So if you share it now, they will save $150, and you'll save an additional $50 for getting them on there. So I'm going to post this right now into the chat on Facebook. And let me get up to that, and YouTube. And it will allow you to click. It should be able to click on the link. And if not, just copy and paste. And I will also put it up at a later time if it didn't work. But do click on and get more information. Go, look on and find out, go to my website and learn about the program. There's the YouTube video that I have included is a 17-minute video explaining the program. And maybe this is right for you. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's right for somebody else, and you could forward it to them, and I would appreciate that. But in the end, I went over my 30 minutes because I was having so much fun talking about the immune system and anatomy and physiology and all that lovely stuff. So, but listen, this is about you. Your health is everything. Oh, I know that's what I was going to say when I was talking about my big toe. I was limited to what I could do when I hurt my foot, my toe. I couldn't put certain shoes on. I couldn't do too much. I didn't, I was planning on doing a 5K this Saturday, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it. I'm going to have to postpone it. This is, that's my big toe that I injured. If I was ill with a long-term illness, what would that mean to me? What's the value there? What would that prevent me from doing? And that's what I want you to think about is if you are in poor health or heading towards poor health, what limitations does that give you? How limited will you be in the things that you want to do for yourself, in your life? I'm a hiker. I'm a mountain biker. I want to get back into scuba diving again. I need my big toe working, and I definitely need my body in good physical health, and I need my overall body itself in good physical health, good physiological health, and I need to be in great mental health. So anyway, thanks for listening. And I am, again, Dr. Lori Monaco, the Badass Buddha. And reach out to me if you have any questions. Don't hesitate to DM me, and peace out. And my saying, remember, everybody, be you, be real, and be extraordinary. Thanks for listening. Peace.